Welcome to the Fiba Americas Virtual Coaches Clinic series offered to the National Federation of Americas. The clinics are part of Fiba Americas development program of national federations. It includes 12 clinics every Thursday, 6 p.m. Miami time in English or Spanish. We would like to thank WABC, short for World Association of Basketball Coaches, for the support. The WABC materials, which includes manuals and videos, has been sent to all participants. Today, in our second session of our 12-week seminar, we will be joined by Stanford University women's head coach, Tara VanDerveer. But before we get to her, let me first introduce Carlos Alves, the Fiba Americas Executive Director. Carlos?
Thank you, Grady. It's an honor to have you with us. Thanks for mediating. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the second of a series of webinars that we are in the process of establishing at Fiba Americas. I'll take a couple minutes before I give the floor back to Grady and just try and explain and frame the strategy and why we're doing these things, right? So the first one is FIBA is as strong as our national federations. So developing our national federations is one of, if not the most important strategic pillar for FIBA. And we are focused on working with the national federation to raise the level of our 43 national federations in Americas. The second pillar, if most of you remember back in China when we had the Congress, was women's and basketball. And we purposely say women's and basketball, not necessarily only players, but the entire ecosystem of developing women's, whether it's in management, as a player, coaches, referees, but a 360 degrees of development, okay? So without further ado, I'm very, very honored today to welcome a world-class, and I'm not gonna steal the thunder from Grady here, but I do wanna give my gratitude to Tara VanDerveer. She was like an old FIBA family member back in 1994, I think in Sydney. She was the head coach for USA. So thank you, coach. Thanks for joining us. It's an honor for FIBA to have you, and we appreciate. We wish you a very good session, and thanks everybody for joining, and I give back to Grady. Thank you.
So I'm really excited to introduce Tara VanDerveer, the head women's basketball coach at Stanford University. VanDerveer, a four-time National Coach of the Year recipient, is one of the best coaches in the history of collegiate and international basketball. In her 41 years as a head coach, she's won 1,094 games, making her the second most winningest coach in women's college basketball. She has spent the last 34 seasons at Stanford, which has included leading her teams to 2 national championships, 12 Final Four appearances, and 31 trips to the NCAA tournament. VanDerveer has helped her players achieve success on not only the collegiate level, but also professional levels. Since 1997, she's had 30 players play in the WNBA. In 1995, she took a one-year leave from Stanford to be the head coach of the USA women's national team. The team she put together, which included Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, is one of the best ever. She guided them to a gold medal victory in the 1996 Atlanta Olympics after a perfect run of 60 wins and 0 losses. But before she was a legendary coach, VanDerveer was a dedicated student athlete at Indiana University. She was a starting guard for 3 years on the women's basketball team, and she was inducted into Indiana University's Hall of Fame in 1995. She has since been inducted into both the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame and the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. I'm super proud to have her on our clinic today, and you know, she means the world to basketball and to women's basketball. And if you guys have any questions, just please jot them down, because we're going to open up at the end a big Q&A, so you could ask Tara anything you want. So this is an opportunity to just pick her brain. Tara?
Grady, thank you for a wonderful introduction. Hola, hello, Carlos. It is great to meet you and see you again virtually. Also, Carlos, I'm very excited that Fiba Americas is working to help promote women in basketball, not only playing, but coaching, training, assistant coaching, administrating. And I think the best women administrator that I've worked with is Carol Callan. And I want to thank Carol for this opportunity to join you today. I had the opportunity to travel with Carol all around the world. And it was a tremendous experience coaching USA basketball. And one of the things I liked the most was meeting people from everywhere. And it was just a great experience. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I thank you, Carol, and USA Basketball for that opportunity. Today, I just want to make sure that you know that this is a very tough situation for all of us. And I want to wish all of you that are joining me today to be safe and healthy. And this is a tough situation, but we want to make the most of it. And I hope that today's clinic is beneficial for everyone, and that for every coach that is listening today, that you will go out and beat your opponent who is either at the pool or the beach or just hanging out and not working on basketball. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to put up and go through, and my focus today is talking about practice and how practice basically determines how effective you are as a coach. A lot of times, practice is something that right now, when we do anything just to be in the gym and practice. Go ahead and you can show the next couple of slides. Just talking about planning practice. I'm going to show favorite drills on a video that we have at the end, and then I'll answer questions. So the first thing with practice philosophy is we want to really make sure that, I'm going to have you back up 1 second. Go ahead. There we go. I'm going to stay there for a little bit. Practice philosophy is teaching fundamentals. The game of basketball a lot of times is overcoached and undertaught. And one thing that I'm very fortunate with, I have great assistant coaches, and we really try to divide up and really work as hard as we can with our players individually. We start practice for the most part every day with some type of ball handling drill, which I will show you a couple of ones that we do. And a lot of times I think young coaches think that we need to skip things to just put in the plays, when in fact, I think working on the fundamentals, developing fundamentals is the best way you can be successful. So we work every day on single ball or two ball handling. And a lot of things you can get right off the internet. For our two ball dribbling, we have a great player, Steph Curry, who plays for the Warriors. And I took his drill, and I have our team doing his two ball dribbling every day. So when you see that drill today on the video, that's the drill we do, is Steph Curry's two ball. So we start with ball handling. I had the next that we work with, we actually have to really break down and teach partner passing, two-hand chest passes, where they're not just whipping the ball at each other, but passing. Pass is a four-letter word sometimes in basketball. All they want to do is dribble and shoot. But I think beautiful passing team is really important. So we work on chest passes, one-hand push passes. We work on all kinds of overhead pass, baseball pass, and we drill these pretty much every day. Then we put the drills together, passing drills, into a movement, so that you're combining skills of maybe ball handling, passing, and getting some conditioning in there too. The next thing is layups. And I know as a coach, it's so frustrating when your team goes in, you get a beautiful shot, and they miss a layup. So we have developed a series, and a lot of things that we do in practice, I call them routines. So that we have a ball handling routine, a passing routine, a layups. And we don't do the same routine every day, but we develop a series. So with layups, we have maybe 3 or 4 different individual layup drills, which I also will show on the video. So we're working with just an underhand layup, overhand layup, hook shot, reverse, inside foot, all kinds of, different layups that will help our team when they're going to the basket, be on balance and finish. So shooting obviously is something that that's how we keep score. So we want to be a good shooting team. And this is something that we work individually. The first thing kind of coming out to practice, we have our players do form shooting. And I use the word BEEF, B-E-E-F, to help our young players work on their shot. So it's a balance, making sure that their feet are not too wide or too close together. And usually if they're a right-handed shooter, they would have their right foot a little bit ahead of their left foot. Balanced, eyes on the target, making sure that they're not moving their head and watching the ball, but instead looking at the rim. You could say where on the rim, I'm not particular per se, but looking at the front of the rim, I think, is what most good shooters like to look at. The second E is for elbow under the ball. And sometimes just starting with just one hand so that they're not what I call chicken wings, where their elbows are way out. And then the follow through, working on a good follow through. So for young players, developing a way, and now it's so easy with a cell phone just to video someone a shot. And then footwork, correct pivoting, making sure they're, again, on balance, not traveling, starting their shot, catching the ball and putting it down right away. And then a defensive stance, making sure that we start with a stance, not just saying, go back and play defense, but, having, I say kind of sit on the court with a nice stance or sit on the bench. All right, so let's go ahead and again, we drew these every day. Let's go ahead to the next slide. So what I like to do is I like to either type up or write up our practice every day. So I have a practice plan and I try very hard to stick with it. So I'll run a clock for certain drills. So most drills are, if they're a team drill, they will be maybe 10 minutes. If they're an individual drill, I try to make it 5 minutes. And I'm not going to say I'm like right on the clock, but I try to be pretty close to staying right on that schedule. Now I will make some, if it's people I see they're getting really tired, if it gets really raggy, I don't want anyone to get hurt. So I might stop a little bit early. We'll go to shooting and we'll do some non-contact. But the other thing I would add to this about our practice is that we try to make every drill competitive, either against the clock or against, so we have winners and losers, or against a team. So it could be the red versus white team, or it could be 3 different teams. We really encourage pace, try to go quickly from one drill to the next, where even, and also going from the drill to getting water and coming back out on the court. And this is a challenge, but we try to work really hard on that. Go ahead, next slide. So I think this is one of the most important things for players is how you give and how they receive feedback. As a coach, a lot of times, especially maybe early in practice, you've got new players, there could be a lot of mistakes made. So how do you make corrections? And how do you stop play? I try to let the play go and then stop and then make corrections. And I think it's really important. I have great assistant coaches. They work very hard, but we don't all want to be blowing our whistle all the time and all talking at the same time. So if I blow my whistle, then I talk and I give the correction. If my assistant blows their whistle and makes stop, then they have the attention. So wait for everyone to get their attention and make the correction. And we try to use what I'm going to call a sandwich approach, which is, saying, hey, you're working really hard, a positive, the correction, and then a positive. You're working really hard, but I need you to be on balance for your shot. And then that would keep doing, keep hustling, things like that. So putting a positive with the correction and another positive. I think this is the biggest thing that, to help your team get better, it's being very specific, but it's not screaming, it's not yelling, it's not demeaning, but I think being positive and encouraging. I want players that want to come to practice. They're excited to get in the gym. Wouldn't we all be excited to be in the gym right now? Go ahead with that next slide, please. So again, I said, we keep statistics on drills. I think that players are hesitant to sometimes want to know their stats. But we need to share them, you know, say, hey, here's your free throw percentage, it's 40%. This is why you can't be in the game at the end of the game. Or, you know, this is a good area for you to improve on. So I try to use stats to help them improve. We also video every drill and every scrimmage. And we have myself or an assistant coach will watch practice or watch a game with our team once a week individually. So I think this is where we use a lot of video, and we show highlights after every game. So after every game, we'll watch all the highlights. We'll talk about the good things we're doing. I think great coaches are able to communicate a vision that they have of the game to their team. And, you know, the best way to do it now, I think, is with video, so they can see the video, they can watch and learn. And then we will also sometimes do what I would call a teaching tape. And a teaching tape will show them things that we want to correct. So, but I think that this is a challenge with a team, and especially a young team, is, you know, it's no fun for anyone to have a video of all your mistakes, and then you don't want to watch video, or you don't. So we try to, you know, make be positive in front of everyone and make corrections individually. You know, say, hey, this is what you need to work on individually. So we're not pointing out in front of everybody, you know, the mistakes that people are making. Our staff tries to meet every day, and we discuss practice. We watch our practice video. We talk about each player, how we can help them improve. And I think this is the thing that as a coach I'm most proud of, is that our players improve so much between the beginning of the season, or so much, you know, over the time they're at Stanford. You know, just showing them, having them play with a purpose, not just having them go out there and whip the ball around, but having them really understand this is good basketball. And so we really try to talk about with our team what we want them to do, whether it's watching video or whether it's on the court. Next slide, please. So how do we design practice? So the preseason practices for me are maybe more focused on offense. I think that offense takes longer to maybe teach, where defense is more effort related. We work very hard on defense. We do a lot of scouting of our opponents to try to, you know, be a great defensive team. But offense needs a lot of drilling and a lot of teaching and a lot of review. So, but our preseason practice are more focused on offense. In season, our practices are shorter, and we spend a lot of time preparing for opponents, and we do a lot of shooting. And I think during the season we taper down just so that we don't want to get people hurt. We try to alternate drills between half-court drills and full-court drills. Again, trying to maximize people's effort, not running them into the ground. But trying to, you know, get them to play full court really hard. Then we'll do a shooting drill or free throws. One thing we try to teach, one main thing per practice. So if we're going to put in a zone offense, then that would be what we would focus on that day. If we're working on a new out of bounds play, then that would be the thing we'd focus on. But we try to put in one new thing each day and then review the things we've put in. I say review, review, review. And we also give quizzes to our team where they have written, you know, they have a written quiz. We will watch video. We'll do things to really make sure our team is learning what we want them to learn. Next slide, please. So our daily outline, I think this is something that I use the analogy of a menu in a restaurant where, you know, the first thing that you might look at is, well, you know, what would you like to order for an appetizer? So that might be our warm-up. We won't do the same warm-up every single day, but we'll have different choices for our warm-up. Then the next thing might be, well, what salad do you want to order? So then for us, that might be our layup drill. And we go through practice like this so that we have different drills or different things that we can just get right to and do quickly. Because once they learn them, and it's obviously helpful when you have upper class players teaching your freshmen, which they're helping them learn the drills quickly. But we don't do the same thing every day, but we have a lot of variety, but focused on warming up, doing layups, doing our fundamentals, and then also getting into our team drills. So our pre-practice routine would be players coming out and doing a mic-in drill, form shooting. Then we'll do a ball handling drill, 1 ball, 2 ball, and some cross-court drill, which you'll see in the video. We do a dynamic warm-up, which is our sports performance coach will direct that just to get everyone going so that we don't just throw them in there. And I think the dynamic warm-up has helped eliminate some injuries. We circle up as a team and staff, and we talk kind of what is our focus for the day. You know, it might be you know, our transition defense, or emphasis on shot selection. I always like to start with a team drill and a layup drill. It could be a passing and then into a layup drill. So I'll show you a series of layup drills that we do. I like to do things kind of right off the bat with doing transition. So getting ourselves going up and down the court. And I like to start out with our transition drills. And I, again, have several of those to show you. And then once we've kind of winded our team a little bit, not exhausted them, but winded them, then I like to get into our defense. And we start with our one-on-one defense, or we would start right in the very beginning with our stance, getting in a stance, working on especially one-on-one defense, closeout defense, pick and roll, half-court shell defense we pretty much do every day, and transition defense, really working on our defense early in practice. Then we would do our offensive review and then our offensive breakdown drills. We break down into 2 ends of the court, a perimeter, post, and I'll show you some of these drills. And again, we will do different things at each end depending upon where we are in the season and what our team needs to improve on. We will work on baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, time and score, and we try to finish practice. Sometimes we will start practice with shooting. We'll do a 10-minute shooting or a series of shooting drills that I like. And again, I can, we have some of those on there. But I like to shoot when we're a little winded or a little tired. And shooting is also something that, you know, at the end of practice, maybe players, they all like to shoot. So it's something that they like. So we're finishing with a shooting drill. We'll do some conditioning drills. For the most part, all of the conditioning drills that we do are with the ball. So it could be like a 5-player weave with a ball. And then we finish with 12 in a row free throws. And if everyone makes their free throws, that's great. If we don't, then we come into the circle, and let's say 3 people didn't make their 12 in a row, then we would do 5 push-ups for each person that didn't make a free throw. So it would be 15 push-ups for those 3 people. We try to, you know, do that pretty much every day. All right, let's go to the next slide. So this is a real practice plan. I just kind of went into you know, my file and looked up. This was like an October 15th practice plan. So we start out coming out with doing some individual work. This would be where we're doing the mic-in. Then we're doing ball handling, 1 ball, 2 ball, cross court moves. We do our dynamic warm up, which includes defensive slides and closeout. We do, in this day, we're doing passing a showtime layup drill, which I have on video. And then our Pinewood layups is also the layup drill, which would be individual, 3 people at a basket, which I also show. A 5-on-0 transition, this might be our transition drill that day. We do 5-on-0 transition, we'll do 11-player fast break. We'll do a great 3-on-3 transition, which I have on video. Some type of drill getting us up and down the court. We divide it up into post and perimeter. So the post players are working on their back to the basket moves. They will have sometimes defense, sometimes the coach will have a pad. And then the perimeter people have a great perimeter series where they're attacking the basket, or they're doing square up shooting, or they're doing specific breakdowns from our offense. Sideline defense is a 1-on-1 defense drill. This day we did 2 defensive drills. We did a zigzag, which is full court, picking up 1-on-1, and we limit the court where we go only to the lane line, and we put cones down so they have to really work within there. Zigzag to me is a great offense and defensive drill. A closeout drill is really critical. Making sure that our players are getting in their stance as soon as the offense has the ball. So we're doing a great job closing out. 3-on-3 full court transition drill will be on the video, which is one of my favorite drills from this year. Go ahead to the next slide. Jonathan, can you bring up the next one, please? All right, so while we're waiting for that next slide, you can see that this is pretty heavy in fundamentals in the beginning, and it's pretty much going to get people moving right away. We're not standing around. We're just trying to hustle from one thing to the next and get things going. So this is actually just a dynamic warm-up where players are just starting. This is before practice. They're just in their stance, working on defensive stance. And watching this, some players could be a little lower, but that's what I'm talking to them. And I don't like it when they bring their feet together, especially just in that. And then they'll do a defensive stance, and then they'll do a closeout. So the closeout is just coming out, pretending there's an offensive player with the ball, and then drop stepping to the baseline. So each player is closing out on both sides, and then just getting warmed up. Again, I think we work really hard on just kind of the technique. This might have been a practice. Sometimes we actually had a person out there. We will start with ball handling, actually. So go ahead and just let it run, Jonathan. The ball handling is a one-ball drill. We had a senior in the middle that basically it's a race. They have a routine, a ball handling routine of circling their waist, circling the two legs together, circling each individual leg, both directions. And they just try to compete with each other in this. And sometimes they lose the ball, which is okay. They're going fast, but we're really trying to encourage them to keep their head up and not watch the ball when they're doing this. They will also do a two-ball. So once they do the one ball, then they'll do a two-ball. We'll see if that's coming up. So the two-ball is Steph Curry's drill. And again, we have someone in the middle that they're trying to catch. And good luck catching her. She's a very good player and really excellent ball handler. So it's a combination of dribbling and between the legs, around the legs. Again, this is Steph Curry's warm-up that I just took right off of the internet. Once they've done this two-ball, then we'll go to the sideline, and they'll do a cross-court. So they'll just do a series of moves, a lot of crossover between the legs, pull back, retreat, dribble. Again, this is just warm up, and we'll do a different warm up every day. They're not always doing the same warm up. So they're just working on their ball handling, and it's this is warming them up. We want everyone to be able to handle. So everyone on our team is doing all these same drills. So this is a drill. If a school or a coach does a drill, I give it their name. So this is a relay race where they're going across the court 5 times. You could do it individually, and it's a race, and you're trying to get around 35 seconds. This is where they have a teammate, and I think that sometimes with a teammate, a relay actually seems to motivate them more than me yelling at them to go faster. They don't want to let their teammate down. So they're really challenging. They're driving over with right hand, going back with left hand, and then they'll switch partners, and we'll end up getting a winner at the end of this drill. But this is a ball handling drill, but also a conditioner. So this is a passing drill that you could start out with. We use this as our warm-up drill, so we're practicing our warm-up coming out. going to the four corners of the court. You can do it with 2 balls or 4 balls, and you just pass, you get the ball back, and you're cutting through the middle, and you're basically, the 2 diagonal lines are going with each other. And it's a fun drill. It's a challenging drill to get the first time, but I think it's a very good passing drill. We go right into what we call showtime layups, which is pass back, and we'll end up getting a layup at the end of the drill. Again, trying to combine passing, layups, and just conditioning. And this is a warm-up drill for us. We really emphasize saying someone's name, having a target, talking during the drill, which they're really good at talking on the phone or texting, but sometimes on the court need to be more vocal. This is a little passing drill I like. It has 3 balls, so 6 people, and 1 ball goes back and forth up top, and after they pass, then you'll see they cut diagonally, and it's just a nice little warm up. You have to pay attention, but it's a quick passing drill. 3 ball is, we might do this once a week, if that, but a nice little passing drill that we try to work on technique and getting people warmed up. This is a layup drill we took from a local high school, and it's a great series of, they're starting with, we give them different names. This is, I think, the regular layup, where they're doing underhand, overhand. They'll do like an inside foot, a hook, reverse, and then there's a whole, there's a lot of different layups that are added, and we won't do the same layups every single day, but we do work on layups every single day, working on keeping their head up. And sometimes we'll have the assistant coach that you see in that picture, we'll have a pad, or we'll bump them as they're going in. This might have been early on. Arizona layups is a team layup drill where it's again passing and cutting and layups, and they have 3 different lines, and they pass and follow their pass, and then end up in the layup line. We shoot the layups 2 ways. We do a regular pass, and then we do a bounce pass. And we also have added kind of sometimes an alley-oop pass where they have to catch it and shoot it right off the pass. So I know that these drills are going quickly, but this is recorded. And hopefully if you need to see the drill to slow it down, I think it's better to see it than me just diagramming it and explaining it. USA layups, we did this with our USA team. Again, this is a cutting. And one of the things I'll emphasize in this layup drill is that when the rebounder is coming in, they go over the top. So it's a quick passing, and you have to really explain this drill well to make sure people don't run into each other. And they have to pay attention. But again, good pace, working on passing, cutting, and layups. And this, we like this drill a lot. Our team really likes this drill. So at this point in practice, then we would divide up, and this is our guard end, where they're just working on attacking the basket, where it could be off of a live dribble. Sometimes they'll do it off of a live dribble or a catch, and just working on their footwork and working on their finishes. Again, assistant coaches might have little hand pads or something to give contact to someone taking it to the basket. But I'm really fortunate. I work with great assistant coaches that make up drills. At this end, we have our post where my assistant has a pad, and we have our manager making a pass to our post player working on back to the basket moves. And again, the post players do a post series where they do a set, they do their same moves where they go baseline, they do hook shots, sweep moves, and it's a series that they do every single day. So we're always looking to get our post players in what I call in deep so that they can catch the ball and finish. This drill really has helped us a lot with finishing 2-on-1. It's very frustrating as a coach when you can't finish. So you have two teams. The white team is on this side, the red team is on the other side, and the two defenders are bringing the ball. They have one person that started going back, and then as soon as the ball passes, the next defender will come in. So you'll see a 2-on-1, and then it becomes a 2-on-2. So I think it's a very good drill. We're emphasizing the person with the ball. For the most part, we want the guard bringing it, committing the defender, and then making a pass. This is another fast break drill we do, called 11-player fast break, where there are two defenders, two offensive people ready to go the other way, 3 against 2, continuous 3 against 2. And we do this drill where and we only allow one shot. So we just have, I think there's just a couple more drills that we have on video, and then we'll go to the Q&A. This is actually one of my favorite transition drills. So this is a continuous 3-on-3. You're going offense, white's coming on offense, and then a new red group will come back against white on defense. So it's a 3-on-3. Now you've got the red playing offense, and then new white will bring it, and they have to get back on defense. So that's a really fun drill. Again, I think this is okay. This is how we would start sideline defense. So one side is doing 1-on-1, and as soon as they finish and we keep score, then the other side starts, and they're doing a defensive slide up the sideline, and then a 1-on-1 defense. So it's 1-on-1 up the sideline, and then a 1-on-1 defense. And they keep their score by stops, how many stops they get. And they can go against anyone. So it's not planned out. We'll tell them to get new partners. I think that might be that. All right, here we go. A couple more closeouts and then box outs. A lot of times we will bring guys into our practice, and this is where, well, this is a box out drill actually, where it's three guys going to the O boards. And what we'll do is you have to get 3 stops. If the guys get an O board, then you run it down and back. So the 3 people come out, they box out 3 times, and if they don't box out, then they're going down and back. And we're trying to be physical, trying to put a body on them. Again, alternating offense and defense. Perfect passing is just penetrate and pitch. And we're working on catching the balls, not traveling, penetrate and pitch. So this is just a 5-on-0 drill. But catching, passing, and getting the idea of, in our offense, we want to have really good spacing and attack and then pitch. Shot fake, penetrate, pitch, make a good pass. This is another drill that we'll do. It's a 4-on-3. So the guys are on, they're in the black shirts, they're on defense, and we roll the ball out, and it's 4. You have to find the open player, which again is similar to penetrate and pitch, but if you score, then you stay on. If you don't, you have to sub out. So on this drill, we have 3 teams, green, red, and white, all going against the guys. This is a drill that we would finish practice with. It's making 2 passes, shooting a layup, and then taking 2 outside shots. And again, making sure that we run this for 3 minutes. We try to get 75 made threes in 3 minutes. And I think it's a fun drill. Our team likes it. And you know, 1 layup and then 2 threes. So again, this is a fun drill to end practice. It's a conditioner plus shooting, which we like. And then the final drill I think that's on here is 90-second shooting. We put 90 seconds on the clock. a lot of our shooting drills, we have one rebounder and a passer, so it's a total of 3 players. And the shooter has to make 5 from 5 spots. So if they make 5, then they go to the next spot and make 5. So they're trying to make a minimum of 25 in 90 seconds. And we have players that I think have made 32, might be the record. But we'll do some type of shooting drill at the end of practice, whether it's 90 seconds. We have other drills too that we'll call out. So I'm going to go ahead. Grady, I think you have some questions, and let's go ahead with the questions.
Thanks, Coach. That was very informative. How does modern basketball, which would include, all those threes that everybody's shooting nowadays and the study of analytics, how does that affect the way you teach fundamentals and the way practice is run?
Well, I don't think it's that different. I mean, the 3-point line has been around for, over 25 years. 3-point shooting, I think the thing that we do probably differently, we really use a lot of video more than 20 years ago. But watching video and helping our players learn through video. And there's so much more scouting involved in the basketball game now, scouting opponents, having synergy, watching synergy. So a player, if they want to go left, they can only do that so much because they'll be exposed. So I think that modern basketball with technology has really helped people develop maybe, or have coaches help their players develop a game that is not one-dimensional, more versatile.
Okay, we have a question that I'm looking at in the chat, and it says, thanks, Coach. Are you familiar with the concept of paint touches, and do you apply it to your stats and share it with players?
Yes, I think that I'm not an over the top analytics person. I'm interested in just like maybe our points per possession. I look at people's statistics, but I'm not I'm not trying to analyze every single play. I think sometimes I think sometimes you just have to go with what you see as a coach, and that's why we're the coaches. If we have a great post player, and we have had several of those, or someone like Lisa Leslie, we got her the ball as close to the basket as possible, and make a team stop that. But the refereeing has changed that a little bit, in that you can be so physical with a player with their back to the basket that a lot of times we try to spread out and attack the basket going at it, not just posting someone up. I can't say that we keep track of all the post touches per se, but we do want to get the ball inside to someone who can deliver on the block. And I do like having what I call a go-to post player, or affectionately Big Mama.
Okay. Now, I noticed a lot of your drills, they were either like fundamentals or a lot of individual and some team. Do you spend a lot of time doing 5-on-5s, 3-on-3s, 4s-on-4s? And if so, how
Yes.
much time do you spend on those?
So, looking at a practice, we do, we try to build up. We will start with 1-on-1, like zigzag, then we'll go to pick and roll, 2-on-2, then we'll play full court 3-on-3. So we're working on 3-on-3, and maybe we're working on our transition defense. We do shell 4-on-4, pretty much half court every day, or sometimes we'll play full court 4-on-4. We do play 5-on-5, and but we built up to that after we've maybe reviewed our offense, or we put in the new set that we want to run that day. My assistant coaches, I'm probably too much of a 5-on-5 person. My assistant coaches always want us to break down more, want us to do more 3-on-3, more 2-on-2. So, I think we kind of probably get a pretty good balance, because I'm wanting more 5-on-5 and they want more breakdown. So we get a good balance of that every day.
Okay, and how what's your team's process of learning plays?
Oh, that's a really good question. So a lot of what we try to do is not necessarily running set plays, but I'll refer to them as actions. Like within the offense, you look for this. If this is open, you're making a cut, you're making a pass, you're making a read. So reading the defense. If you're running a bunch of set plays, they might work the first time you play a team or early in the season. But by the time you're trying to beat teams, for the most part, you're scouted. So we try to get as many points as we can in transition, but running a half-court offense is more a reading the defense, having good spacing, involving pace, involving screening, involving actions that will get us good shots. But it's just I just think that as we go on, we try to put things in one day and we build things up and then keep reviewing them. So the best way, we just start and teach the play. We try to write it up for them. We'll have them write it down. We show it to them on video. And one of the things, the advantage that we have is that we have upperclassmen that for the most part know the plays. And then they're able to help the younger players learn them.
Okay, and here's another question from the chat. What's one of the biggest challenges you ever faced in terms of motivating a player that might tend to hide behind others?
I think for the most part,